Okay. So I also saw Morbius, and I will admit I am not too familiar with the character. I have heard of the character, a long time ago. I know he's in the Spider-Man universe. I know a lot of people were excited for this movie, and I was pretty much excited too. Sony is hit or miss with their Spider-Verse. Spider-Man No Way Home, I enjoyed. I am not a huge fan of the Venom movies. I thought the first one was pleasantly surprising. The second one I thought was complete hot garbage. And so, knowing that Venom was coming out, I held it at bay with hesitation to see it. But I was going to see it anyway. And then I started hearing just little murmurs of folks' thoughts on the movie. I really don't read too much in the world of reviews when it comes to movies I plan on seeing, but it's very difficult to step away from being absolutely immune to, the overall sentiment of the movie. And so I have to admit, it kind of hit the level of expectation I had. And then I watched the movie. And goodness gracious, good lord. Oh my goodness. To say this movie has a paper thin plot is an insult to paper. This movie just had actions happening for no rhyme or reason. And just to give a small synopsis, you had Dr. Morbius, who was afflicted by some type of blood disease as a kid, and apparently he's incredibly smart, and he decides that his cure is to work with the blood of bats, and then he becomes a vampire. That's pretty much it. That right there is where there's just a lot of things that happen for no rhyme or reason. And things that just, when I say things are nonsense, it is about the truest sense of the word, where the reason why the other characters are doing what they're doing or the actions they're performing are never explained, never mentioned why. They just happen. He has a friend who had the same blood disease. I guess he's either rich or some type of, I won't say a gangster, but kind of lives on that outside of the law lifestyle. We don't know. That things just happen. And without going into spoiler territory, none of it makes any sense. In one particular case, Morbius is performing experiments. He doesn't want anybody to know, but his lab is in the middle of a building, and anybody who walks into the lab immediately sees what he's doing. That's it. It's not even hidden. Cops are investigating what's going on, and they come in and ask a couple of questions and then leave. In fact, in one particular case, Tyrese goes, "Hey, don't you work with Dr. Morbius?" And, the lady goes, "Yeah," and then he just walks away. That's it. So, it's on that level where you go, okay, well, where was he going? And it never follows through. The movie never follows through. Things just happen, and it's hard to follow. It takes huge logic leaps and huge plot leaps to the point where you can't even really follow the movie. You're just watching things happen, and that's where the movie pretty much falls apart. And then before you know it, it's over. The end credits show up, and there you are. And oh my goodness, if you haven't heard about the end credits already, oh my word, that right there takes nonsense to a whole new level. It goes past 9,000. this is where somebody sat in the room and said, wouldn't it be cool to have this? And everybody else in the writer's room went, fine, put it in. No problem. That would be awesome. And nobody ever for a second went, wait, this makes no sense. This makes absolutely no sense. It was bad. In fact, after the movie was over and the credits had rolled and the lights came on, I started, making fun of the movie with my son, and other people in the theater that had stayed along were pretty much nodding their head in agreement. They said, yeah, this was pretty bad. And in all honesty, this kind of makes me worry on how Sony is approaching their own individual Spider-Verse. They own the rights to the Spider-Man license, or IP, if you will, which gives them Spider-Man, Morbius, Craven, Venom, and what have you, whatever else is attributed to that. And with the exception of No Way Home, and only the reason No Way Home was good was because it had built over 20 years of goodwill with the original Spider-Man series and even the Amazing Spider-Man, which was, okay at best. But still, with all that goodwill, No Way Home became enjoyable. But I have a feeling that the most recent Spider-Mans would not have the level of popularity if it wasn't for the inclusion of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU. And that's where I'm having a huge concern, because it seems just about everything Sony does on their own doesn't seem to work very well. Homecoming and Far From Home were okay. No Way Home was good because we had a huge nostalgia factor. But Venom was okay. Venom 2 was awful. Morbius is awful. And we have Craven coming out pretty soon. I don't know. I just feel that I think Sony really needs to step back and just, instead of just saying, hey, let's just put it out there and everybody's going to love it just because we say, whatever. They need to sit back and go, okay, does this make any sense? In the plot, in the universe, whatever. And hell, even just sit down with Kevin Feige and just go, Kevin, does this work? And if he says no, then you go back to the drawing board and go, okay, let's make it work. And let's, Kevin doesn't have to give his, stamp of approval, but at least reach out to him. And if he says, okay, yeah, that can work, then you move forward. But goodness gracious, what they're doing now is not good. And it's unfortunate because I think Sony could really do some good stuff with the IP that they're working with. They can do Spider-Man well. Into the Spider-Verse is really good, and I'm really excited for the new Spider-Verse movies. That those would work very, very well. I'm hoping the next set of Spider-Man movies will work out, but I'm sorry, all this other stuff that they're doing isn't working, and it's a shame because I'm a huge fan of Sony. They do really well with their games and what have you. Uncharted was a mess, but they could do a lot of good here, and they probably just need some partners to help them steer the ship correctly. So anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about as far as the world of Morbius goes. I didn't like it. If I were to give it a grade, it would definitely be in the low D's, a D minus. It wasn't enjoyable. I do not see myself watching that one again anytime soon. Maybe one day if I'm, I don't know, sitting at a hotel with not much to do and it happens to be on FX and I just happen to catch the last 30, 45 minutes into it. And, as it leads into another movie I actually want to see, I will probably watch it then. But other than that, probably not. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what I had to say, hit that subscribe button. If you really like it, you can also hit that thumbs up button. We're on the road to 200 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for taking your time out to listening to what I have to say. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.